Hello and welcome to Milestone Technologies AI and Automation Center. We actually have a lot for you today. We are going to show you an IT service desk implementation of Amelia, which is one of the most advanced commercial AI platforms today. You're going to actually see Amelia do a lot of very complex processes. You're going to see her interact with me as an end user in natural language format. You're going to get a sense of her omni-channel capabilities, whether it's on text channels like SMS or chat frameworks like Messenger and Slack, or like a voice over a phone. You're going to see her at her best at doing things, unlike most virtual agents and chatbots that are really about information retrieval and are very scripted. She is very good at connecting to backend systems and executing business processes. You are going to see her respond to users with a lot of empathy in her response. You're going to see that the processes she employs are derived directly from a company's like best practice in the processes. We've picked an IT service desk, a very complex process. It's a procurement process around lost laptop, where a user persona of an IT executive is traveling and has lost their laptop. You're going to see some key features of Amelia in action, and primarily, the one being her continuous intelligent arbitration. And what that is it's a very fancy way of saying she evaluates everything that I, as the end user, say to her on its own merits. She makes no assumptions about the next steps in a particular process. What that allows us to do is switch contexts between any number of processes that you might have her trained on. You're going to see a lot of third-party integrations, which I think is pretty exciting because it opens up to the art of the possible in being able to connect to a lot of your back office systems and being able to automate things. And then later on, we're going to actually break Amelia. We're going to confront her with a user request she's not trained on. And you can see how good she is at observational learning. And you're going to see a little bit of that process in action. So what you see here right now is a web-based interface that, for the purposes of today's demo, is designed to showcase the kind of conversation that you can have with Amelia regardless of the channel that you're coming on. And a web interface can happen over the phone. It can happen over a smart device like an iPad. And I can actually talk to Amelia over this channel as well. I am in a really bad mood. I lost my laptop and I'm traveling to San Diego. So I'm actually going to tell her how I feel. I'm in a really bad mood today since I lost my laptop earlier in San Diego. Now you can see right away she's layered in a lot of empathy into her response. She understands I am in a really negative mood. She's picked up on the fact that I am on a trip to San Diego, and this is going to be important later on. She is going to walk me through two-factor authentication since I'm on my phone in this environment. And she sent me a 6-digit code that I am going to enter in, if you'll bear with me. And once the authentication is over, she starts to play back a lot of information to me. On the right-hand side, you see what's called a chat log. And what it is it's a stacked dashboard. And you'll see a lot more information come up on the stacked dashboard as we go along in the demo. She's playing back information to me, which is really important because it helps me as the end user gain a lot of comfort in her ability to solve my problem, because she's pulling back key information about me that's in the system, and she doesn't need to ask me a lot of questions. Now, she's pulled back 3 devices that are registered to me, but I also realized as the end user, I was trying to get to my documents on my phone, and I locked my account out. So I am going to ask her to actually solve a different problem for me instead of telling her which laptop I've lost. So right away, she's picked up on the fact that I've locked my account out. Now, this is a key example of that continuous intelligent arbitration. She made no assumptions because even though she asked me to verify which device requires replacement, I came back to her with a completely different question. Because she's trained on both these processes, she was able to interpret what I said as being something completely different, launched off into a different process, did not ask me to re-enter a authentication code because she recognizes that I am in a session that's been authenticated, and as long as I am actually authenticated, she doesn't need to ask me that question again. Notice how all my responses back to her are very brief, they're very colloquial, they're shorthand. Her natural language engines are very good at understanding this. You can see she's pulling back a lot of information about tickets. I'm going to show you very briefly what just happened as a result of the tickets being created. Here's an account lockup ticket that just got created. And if I click into it, you can see that she has not only categorized the ticket correctly, she has actually started to record the details of the call that are actually in here. Notice another really important thing. She sent me an email, obviously, so that it can persist that information that she sent about my password. But she's also come right back to my original problem. So she started off by solving the lost laptop issue. I interrupted her, and bear in mind, I can do this as many times as I want to, depending only on the number of processes that Amelia is actually trained on. And if I tell her yes, she's come right back. She's going to ask me to pick a device that that has been lost. Now, on an online framework, whether through text or through chat, she has the ability to provide a lot of very rich information back to me to help me make a decision and move very quickly. Very difficult for a human agent to actually do this. Since she's following a persona-based business process, she knows who I am. I'm a senior exec. She's authorized to buy one for me like right away. And she wants to know if I'm still in San Diego because she really needs to know a few more pieces of information in order to be able to order the laptop for me. Again, I'm being very brief. I'm being very colloquial. She's done a live lookup into Google Maps and found a couple of Home Depots a couple of Best Buys that just happen to be the preferred vendors. And again, through the user interface, I can actually pick an address, or I could type it in if I wanted to. And she's going to place an online order for me, which in this demo is a simulation. She's going to send me text details. She's also going to collect a lot of this information and send that to me via email. And now that she's done solving my problem, one of the best practices from an ITSM perspective, just a pure customer service perspective, we believe at Milestone that you should be solving an end user's problem first, and you should be solving your problem later. And what is my problem as the agent? I need help with the paperwork. And now that I've helped the user, they're much calmer. They are actually able to help me. I need a couple of pieces of information. Again, I don't have to communicate with her through a complex user interface. It can be a very natural language process. She's picked up on the fact that this was done earlier today. She asked for a police report. Well, a police report hasn't been filed. But she's gone ahead and created another ticket for the lost laptop. And she's sending me the ticket right now with the information that I need to be able to go to the Best Buy and be able to pick up my laptop. So what you saw today, very briefly and very quickly, was the ability of Amelia to solve a very complex business process, be able to context switch into different business processes, solve them with all the information that she has at her disposal, and also be able to do a lot of back-end work that for a human agent is going to have to be done in a series. Now, what happens when Amelia is confronted with a process that she doesn't understand? We are going to see that very quickly right now, and I'm going to walk you through a scenario where as an end user, I have approached her with a request. It's not a request that she's trained in, and let's watch and see what happens.